Are you ready to get provoked? You're listening to Can I Live, a show created to excite, ignite, and expose. Let's tune in with your host, R.W. Jones. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Like, we got to do the intro, y'all know. The show ain't good if we just don't do the intro. So, let's go.
Morning, Miss Jones. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, requires you to locate missing contracts that have been withheld from minority low-income unutilized Section 3 business concerns. Entities that receive certain HUD financial assistance, such as public housing authorities, city and state municipalities that receive CDBG funding, and their general contractors are all required to adhere to the federal regulations 24 CFR 135. For more than 50 years, these regulations have been grossly and intentionally neglected. Whistleblowers have been silent, and contracts terminated without cause, resulting in incurable damages to business owned and ran by Black and brown individuals. Dismantle the powers that be. Bring accountability, restore economic justice to the great people of this nation. In the event, should you or any member of the Can I Live team be caught or killed, the Justice Syndicate will disavow all knowledge of your actions. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
And there you have it. See, it's not Mission Impossible if you just simply do not have the Mission Impossible music. So what I'm going to do, because I saw my camera was out of focus, I have to refocus. Welcome everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Can I Live Possible? The Can I Live podcast. And today we are part 2 of Mission Impossible, the Section 3 Ghost Protocol. Today we got a little twist because we're going to really talk about this final rule. I know last time on the podcast, we kind of gave a background overview on what Section 3 was. And I told you that I was like really, really ready. Okay. This week, I'm even more ready. Okay. You see, still got my gloves because I'm not playing. So let me just give you my little, I got my little kit here. I got my little knife. You're going to need a knife. How many of y'all know y'all going to need a knife? You start talking about Section 3 stuff, you know, you just create all kind of enemies. Okay. I got the compass bracelet here. So, you know, a child of God will know where they're going at all times. You know, you need the lamp unto your feet. I got my little flashlight here. I got my little telescope. I can see things from a long way. You know, I'm ready. I'm trying to tell you, I'm ready. What else? I got my little barbed wire. Like, I could really cut something. I could do something. We ready for this battle. Because this is a battle, yo, we ready. Real talk, we ready. And we know it's going to be a battle. Blood, I hope blood is not drawn. Because the blood was already drawn. How about that? Years ago. Got my little compass. Don't tell me we don't know what direction we're going into. We will be absolutely ready. I got my little emergency blanket. Unless I get caught out in the cold, shivering somewhere. You know, because all things can happen. They can put you out your house. Yeah, we protected by the blood. We believe in that. What else I got in this little kit here? I got all kind of things that I probably don't even know how to use. I got a little saw, little multi-purpose. I'm ready. Y'all think I'm playing? Like, I had to make sure that before we start talking about Section 3, that I got booted up, suited up, ready. Now, I just can't put this knife back, so I don't even know how to put it back. So I'm going to not put it back. I'm going to wait till Mr. Jones comes in and put it back. And let's get comfortable. So, welcome. I cannot even, there are no words to really express, number one, the feedback that we have gotten from Section 3 contractors, really Section 3 contractors, residents who have tried to obtain contracts from their local housing authority or local municipality. Most of the emails are like, yeah, Section 3 is a scam. Yeah, Section 3, is a joke. It's not a thing. And so, we tried to last week cover our basis to give you an understanding of what Section 3 actually was. So we got some details, some information that we'll share with you. But for those that are new to this podcast today, I have this little document that I'll share. And it really is just telling you the impact of Section 3. And so I'm going to preface, because some of the information that I'm reading to you today is not our information, but information that a lot of the industry does rely heavily on. This particular, let me share my screen. This particular document is called the Regulatory Impact Analysis. Let's see. It's from HUD. It's the Section 3, Creating Economic Opportunities for Low and Very Low Income Persons, Businesses Strengthened through Section 3 Requirement. And it's like what they call a regulatory impact analysis. Now, I just need to probably caveat some stuff for you real quick, simply because here's what you really need to know. If we could put a man on the moon, like I said all the time, you've heard me say it before, I'll probably continue to say it. If we could put a man on the moon, surely we could put opportunity in the hands of low-income people. This is not rocket science. So part of me, let me just say, forgive me for those that have far beyond and gone beyond all of this small rhetoric. Forgive me for even seeming like this might be a waste of your time. I promise you, it's not a waste of your time. If you just give me the time, we're going somewhere with this. Okay? We're going somewhere. First of all, many people don't even talk about it, let alone put it in a podcast, let alone, blast it out there. But we have some really exciting news that we'll share, midway and then at the end. And so let's see, I don't know who just popped in. And so, yes, this is some kind of summary. And you know what? I really am a little offended that there are organizations out there, national organizations, Caucasian organizations, that they really just get paid to come and analyze. Like everybody got a opinion or expert, analysis of how to do this for poor people. Let's make this plain. When the rule was created in the first place, the rule was set up for failure. They never intended on having that rule be a rule. They never intended on giving low-income people opportunity. Because really back then in the 1960s, when it was created, that was when Dr. King was assassinated. They damn sure wasn't trying to give us no opportunity. So let's make that clear. They wrote it up to give us the appearance that they were trying to do something benevolent. But I promise you, we tapped in today. I know that's right, Chase. But I promise you, it never was created. So what they did was make it mad complicated. Oh, you gotta have 30% new hires and 30% in training and employment and 10% in contracts, 3% professional services, and all of these percentages. And then you gotta do all of this and you gotta do all of that. And so when they got the rules, what did people do? Circumvent them, get around them. Why? Because at the end of the day, they wasn't trying to hire us any old way. Okay. Today, if you want to fast forward, Section 3 has not been actualized. It has no budget in HUD's budget, meaning there is no department called Section 3. They stuck it under the Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, which we're going to discuss that this new final rule that's taking effect November 30th, a lot of that stuff is going away. So eventually what they're trying to do is make sure that the rule is so weak and null and void that you couldn't even bring a complaint, lawsuit, or anything if you wanted to. So that's why I think it's very important for us to act now before the rule becomes a factor, like before the final rule. So if you are a contractor who have been injured, who have been scammed, who have been refused contracts, and you are qualified, you are a legal business entity with your insurance, with the things that you need to qualify for the jobs. If you feel like you have been injured, please, please, please email us at podcast@canilive.org. We will send you some information. We will call you up, listen to your story, because at this point, come on now, this is our time. This is our moment. This is, if they're saying Black Lives Matter, well, they don't matter more than they matter during these type of conversations. Because in this particular regulatory impact statement, which I did show you guys last week, I mean, it goes on and on and on. Basically, in a nutshell, it basically said that if the rule was actualized, let's see, given that approximately 40% of HUD's current overall budget, which is $18.9 billion a year. Now, if you got your little calculator out and you did 18.9 billion, you know, you just kind of just keep pressing the zeros over and over, right? And right. Right. 18.9 billion. And you just times that, let's just say 30 years. We won't even go back 50 because they ain't know no better back then. That's like $567 billion that has been supposedly, that's a whole new word. Add that to your dictionary. $567 billion. So let's just say in excess of $600 billion. That should have, could have, would have gone to low-income communities. $600 billion over the last 30 years. Now, I want $600 billion. What could that have possibly, what difference would that have made in our communities? What difference would that have made for single moms out there, for these sons out here, that we wouldn't went into the incarceration system to the vast number that we did? So yeah, we know that the system is rigged and we understand, you know, but you got people out there really wanting to fight system, what they call it, institutionalized racism, and create systemic change. You have those entities, but I don't really know if people really understand where these moments are. And it definitely is in this particular regulation, 24 CFR 135. So if 18.9 billion is covered now, that might not have been the budget, you know, 30 years ago. But that's why if you was to take it back 20 more years and not count those numbers on an estimate, I promise you, you're still going to be at a minimum of $500 billion, minimum. So on this next page, it says, by ensuring that HUD funding employment opportunities are meaningful, this proposed rule could result in more than 16 million in weekly wages for Section 3 residents. 16 million a week, $16 million in weekly wages is a big deal. And it's like, what does $16 million look for your city, your state, your local jurisdiction? With all of the money that's out there from CDBG funding, you guys know that HUD funds cities, counties, states, municipalities through the Community Development Block Grant, which I believe is one of the biggest sources of funding for local municipalities. And soon as $1 of HUD financial assistance for those programs is put on that contract, the whole contract then therefore becomes triggered by Section 3. And then it sets off a whole nother set of rules. And so most people never heard about Section 3. They heard about Section 8. Now, how is that? How is it that Black folks heard about Section 8 and they wait on the Section 8 line forever, 20 years? They get their little Section 8 voucher. Oh, we know about the vouchers, but we don't know about the money. Maybe because we don't want to know about the money. Is our hand out? And our hand ain't trying to pull up? And certainly ain't trying to pull back for the next? Maybe our hand is just out. I'm not sure. I believe there's some people with their hand out. I believe there's some people with their hand climbing up. And there are some of us that are reaching back. However, at the end of the day, if this rule is not actualized, that's a problem. That's a major problem. And so let's see, there is the overall, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the National Low Income Housing Coalition. So they're here in DC. They're a big organization. And one of the things I knew that when HUD was proposing, when it was a proposed rule, they did put this rule out and say, hey, you guys, here we're looking for comments. You're right. They weren't looking for no damn comments. They just had to follow protocol that before you change the rule, you got to put it out for comments. And so I've submitted comments. Most people submitted comments. They took the comments that they wanted to take because they already had an initial agenda anyway. And so, let me share this right here. So this right here, like I said, it's not ours, but it was created by National Low Income Housing. I believe I know that there's a very astute young man by the name of Ed Gramlich. So he is preparing a very in-depth analysis, and we've asked him to join, but he said really until he gets that analysis complete, he really couldn't join because he didn't want to provide a half-ass presentation. So we were really like, yeah, okay, please don't, because they do, he does good work, I know for sure. However, in a nutshell, the final rule has been proposed, and not only has the final rule been proposed, what we want to discuss is here are some provisions that are now happening with this final rule. And I want you to kind of think, okay, where are we going with this? So, overall, there was always this, how do you say, let me put my glasses on and read. There was always this conversation about 30% new hires. Why? Because people would basically hire you, get their little Section 3 points, and then they'll fire you. Or they'll hire you and let you work part-time 20 hours. See, when people manipulate the law like that, there's nothing you can really do. I'm not saying there's nothing you can do, but you can't legislate love. Love is patient. Love is kind. It's not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrong. It trusts. It perseveres. It hopes. It is not setting up barriers for you. It's not tricky. It's not deceiving. And so, okay, yeah, we have a love issue. Okay, moving on. However, as a legal abiding citizen, the HUD administration and most of our government that was set up not for us, by us, they don't even acknowledge or are accountable to their own rules. And I know sometimes y'all be seeing those slave movies and y'all be seeing how just blatant in your face they were. Oh, he's not guilty, or they still do it today. I mean, come on, the Breonna Taylor verdict. Come on now. What we got to see. I don't know what y'all got to see, but we better be ready and willing to come up out the system, because you can't, like I told you, a seed can only produce after its own kind. You can't sow an apple seed and get an orange. An unjust system will always, always give you injustice. We cannot expect an unjust, wicked system to give us justice because it doesn't know how. It wasn't built to. So while most people are focused on fixing the old, some of us is over here building the new. And that's where I believe a lot of us are called to this day. Let's build the new. Go ahead and have that. You want that old crusty ass system that just is for the demons and the legions and just the dogs? Keep that. I don't want nothing to do with that. I ain't gonna give you no room to ever lock me in that system. And so, yeah, I might honor by different honor code standards and all of that good stuff. But at the end of the day, I feel sorry for people that just continues to just barricade. Like, who are you? Did your mama show you any love? Are you just void of a soul? Like, you sleep at night, you get up in the morning, and then you raise your kids like this. Like, that is a sick, diabolical, psychopathical, that's a new word too. I told you I make up my own words. Psychopath. That's not even it. But then here's another thing. Okay, the diabolicals, the psychopaths, yeah, they do all of this, right? But what about the ones that help them? Like, y'all work in these institutions where y'all know this shit ain't right, but y'all just do your little part. Oh, I'm just going to write it. I'll write my little, memo. And I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with my writing memos. We write them because we have to. Everybody got a way that they fight. But at some point, like, put your money where your mouth is. Just don't be a stumbling block for someone. Like, if we want to push the envelope, if you getting money from the same source that you so-called advocating to residents against, you can't get money from the same source because you already know that they can shut you down. They can tell you what not to say. And that's what we'll make sure in a couple of weeks, we'll let you know our little HUD nightmare, because it's a nightmare. But we're not going down. We from Brooklyn. Shout out to Brooklyn. I don't know about y'all. I need some Biggie Smalls right now. But we're not going out like that. We're not doing that. That's not what we're doing. So let's get back. 3 positive changes to the rules. Okay, no, they don't do new hires anymore. They're not going by the numerical new hires, 30% new hires. They don't have to do that anymore. So now they're going to judge, quote, quote, hold accountable entities by the number of hours that a Section 3 worker has worked. Okay, good luck with that. You couldn't even maintain the percentage when it was easy. Now you done made it this way. And then if they do not obey, what you gonna do? Nothing. HUD ain't gonna do nothing if they don't obey. If they choose not to hire a one person, ain't nothing gonna happen. And so that's why this is a joke. Not saying that NL, the National Income Housing, is a joke, but the fact that we are responding to this in this matter is a joke, at least to me and everybody else that we've heard from this far. This ain't this is not clinical. This is not theoretic. This is not thesis worthy. This is not, oh my God, like analysts and like policy analysts and like I am just like super smart because I'm like astute in policy and regulation. No, boo boo. This ain't that. This shit is real simple. Fucking hire the people for sorry. Take that back. Scratch that from the record. Hire the people. Why you not gonna hire the people? They need jobs. And don't say they ain't trained. Don't say they're not qualified. They more than qualified. How about that? They're more than qualified. So let's see. It goes on to say that basically the 30% new hires or so-called residents, now they're doing what they would be calling, wait, I wrote it in my thing because I can't look at that computer screen. They said that the reason why they created it, some contractors would hire the residents and fire them. And then some contractors some Section 3 residents would just get like 20 hours or less a week to work. Some contractors would shift some of their existing workforce, Section 3 workforce, just to prevent from hiring people in the beginning, just altogether. So now the focus is on labor hours worked instead of new hires. That will measure the total employment by Section 3. Okay, fine. Then it says the proposed rule will have required jurisdictions to switch to the labor hours, but active PHAs, public housing authorities, will have to be counted in that as well. HUD did say, yeah, housing authorities, you do have to make the switch to the labor hours. However, as you can see, small housing authorities with fewer than 250 public housing units, they're not required to do the labor hours. So they're kind of like exempt. And taking that out of the 2,900 plus housing authorities in the United States, only 2,250 of them, not only 2,250 are considered small. So that's damn near all the damn housing authorities that don't have to necessarily do the hours work. So I thought that was like, They go on to talk about the census tract, that wording being removed. They go to define the definition of a Section 3 business. Section 3 business concern is 51% of the businesses owned by low-income persons, or low-income people work more than 75% of the labor hours worked at the business, or at least 25% of the business is owned by public housing residents or Section 8, either tenant-based or project-based. So now they're saying setting a 25% threshold for public housing Section 8 ownership of a business risk rewarding businesses that are merely front entities. A problem sometimes experienced with minority-owned, women-owned businesses. So, for example, they would be 75% owner and then get some schmuck to say that they are like 25% owner, and then they would qualify and be able to check the box, have no legal consequences or repercussions, and be able to go on. I think they think that these are some of the more rewarding changes. The harmful changes to this, which is very, 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 how do you say, important. So one of the major complaint changes to the rule is that it eliminated the Section 3 specific complaint process. So specifically, if you had a complaint that was against a Section 3 violation, now you used to be able to go to the Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, you can make a complaint, and then they were routed to Fair Housing. Now it's going to DC, and supposedly there's this office, who is these people? There's this entity, the Office of Field Policy and Management. They're supposed to be now filtering complaints to appropriate program offices. But what the issue is, I don't know why my glasses, I feel like kids always, I got like 1,000 kids that just grab my glasses on a daily basis. Like I can't even keep, I don't understand what it is. I'm trying to see through it. I can't even see. Okay. So what is happening is the complaint process now, instead, it says complaints may be reported to the relevant office or to the local HUD office. So if your complaint is, let's say it's a public housing complaint and it's a Section 3 violation, that complaint will go to the PIH office. And so, you know, just going through this memo, it says the relevant offices are those that provide the funding. So it's kind of like the fox hounding the, fox watching the hen house. So you want the entities that give the money to other entities. Now, if there's a violation, you're going to take that violation, that complaint right back to them, say, hey, you violated this complaint, and we want to make a complaint process, a complaint or file a complaint. First of all, most of them are not steeped in the regulation, so they don't have a steep knowledge on how these things should be handled. So the fact that you're about to take a complaint process and put it into a partial, and I like to say a bias, they will have a bias. What do you think that complaint process is going to look like? They're not going to hold themselves accountable. So the mere fact that HUD and their brilliant selves, okay, these are not stupid people. They're very, very smart. But the mere fact that they said, you know what, everybody's going to handle their own complaints, that tells you right there, they really trying to make sure this stuff just never gets handled. Let's see. So it says the monitoring and enforcement of Section 3 is removed from HUD's Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity, transferred to the relevant program office. This is a problem because Section 3 monitoring and enforcement should be carried out by HUD staff who is independent of HUD programs, because program staff are too close to the Housing Authority's jurisdiction and or the development projects funded by their own programs. So yeah, that's a problem. That's probably one of the biggest problems that we find with it. Let's see. I think they also changed the definition. The proposed rule, third option for determining whether someone might be a Section 3 worker. They're changing the word Section 3 resident to Section 3 worker. Don't ask me why. I mean, they got their own reasons, but Section 3 worker is supposed to be like a more targeted effort. It says the final rule keeps this option, which is a problem because someone hired by a Section 3 business will not necessarily be a public housing Section 8 and or low income person. The proposed rule will establish Section 3 benchmarks. So let me just back up. The proposed rule, third option for determining whether someone might be a Section 3 worker was someone employed by a Section 3 business. Well, remember the Section 3 business concern really was somebody who made up a certain percentage or who hired a certain percentage of Section 3 workers. Now, it's basically saying that the proposed rule is determining whether someone might be a Section 3 worker when someone employed by a Section 3 business. The final rule will keep this option, which is a problem because somebody hired by a Section 3 business may not necessarily be a public housing Section 8 or other low income. So again, more circumvention. Also, the proposed rule would establish Section 3 benchmarks to replace the current rule's goals. There were numerical goals that they had to adhere to. So now those goals are not there, they're benchmarks. And to me personally, it just gets more complicated. I mean, and this ain't the final rule is hella pages. I think I went to print it out more than 20 something pages. And it just got more complicated. It didn't get more simple. They didn't have the final rule to simplify the process. I mean, the final rule actually complicates things more. Now, for those that are really steeped in the technical aspects of Section 3, it's not really that damn technical. It's like hire the damn people, for crying out loud. Pay for training, pay for employment, give people contracts. If you did it, you wouldn't even have, all you got to do is then now report that you did it. It's not that deep. And so, I mean, I get pissed because I'm not about to go on this monkey trail, go down this rabbit hole with all of these damn technical ass things. Because it just means now people, and who told me this? I had a professor actually tell me, we were in grad school. I was in grad school getting my PhD in public policy. And I noticed how they would do this spin on words. They would tell us to do homework, and it was always a spin. But I felt like, I heard this before. This is the same information that we had when we were in undergrad. So I would ask questions in a very simple but intelligent way. And then they would say, you know what, Raquel, I'm not even going to play no games with you. On the PhD level, yes, we put big words out there and we make things more complicated so that we are the experts. I had a professor tell me that. And I thought, really? He said, yeah, because if you don't understand it, then we look like we're smart. That's when I thought, I'm coming out of grad school. I'm not paying all this money for somebody to screw me with a nice high-end luxury plunger with the gold tip and shit. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to do that. And that was enough for me. However, this is that kind of, it feels like that. This is, again, more fucking complications. Excuse my language. More complications. Strike that from the record. A little curse word. I'm working on it. But some things just make me a little bit more upset. Because, God, can I live? You know what I'm saying? Can I live? Like, God, Lee, the same God that created you created me. Why are you trying to stop me from shining? Oh, because maybe if I shine, you will be like dust. Yeah, why? Because you fall pale in comparison to my glory? I mean, I was made in the image of my Father. Mother, whoever you want to call him, creator, whatever. I'm royalty, for God's sake. I am awesome. I'm dynamic. I'm just like a beautiful specimen. But that's not for you to be afraid and then put all of these barriers in front of me so I can't feed my kids. That shit ain't it. I just get so frustrated. So in a nutshell, as I've read this final rule 2-3 times, I ain't got nothing for you. What'd you say? I got an idea you want to pitch to me. I'm open to it, Chase. I'm open to all ideas at this point. Because I ain't got nothing else for you. It's complicated. And trust me, and I can eat ordinances. I got all kind of big old law books in here. I put my little glasses on and I go in. But when you start looping me around the mulberry bush and you got me in, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 8, and then I got to see Jason and then Candyman. It's like, come on, give me one track to follow. So it's tricky. It's like Run DMC says, it's tricky. It's tricky. It's to rock around, to rock on. Somebody say focus. But I mean, I'm just saying, we need ideas. So let's go. Well, give me some ideas. I'm going to open up the chat. Let's talk about ideas. How about, let me ask you this. I think we might be traumatized. Well, I know we traumatized. But how come somebody hasn't filed a class action lawsuit yet? Like, where that at? Where the class action lawsuit on the injury to Section 3? Business concerns, resident-owned businesses, contractors, low-income people. Where that at? I'm trying to see where that at. I'm interested in that. Who we got out here? Let me see. Hey Billy, I'm gonna allow you to talk. Billy, what you got to say? I brought Billy out of the crowd and into the. You got to unmute, Billy. I brought you in because I mean I don't know if we scared, if we just I don't understand. What is it? We sleep, we numb, we traumatized. What is
I
it?
think a lot of us are not informed. I mean, a matter of fact, I know a lot of us are not informed because even at the staff level in the Department of HUD and region and national, they're not informed and they work there.
That's true.
And so a lot of that misinformation is passed down from staff in regard, people will call HUD and ask questions, and then staff will give a bad interpretation of what the law says, and then that's passed on. And so we have
That's true.
history of being misinformed. And so, but there's a fix or a solution to that. Is called grab the books and read for ourselves. And so
Hmm.
sometimes we have to take initiative and go beyond the hearsay of those who interpret or misinterpret what the law says and get an understanding for ourselves. And so I think that's one of the components that, you know, I think, I don't know, just getting that information
But
and,
let me ask you this
print it out.
question. I was gonna say maybe we just so broke we can't pay attention. But you also just said, which I know for sure from my own personal experience, that is also the staff who got jobs who ain't necessarily broke. They still don't have the interpretation and the knowledge. So
Yeah. I mean, and the other part of that is, as you stated, there's been no lawsuits, no case law to reference from. So when you have a combination of misinformation or misinterpretation and lack of case law, that kind of just leaves kind of a, what they call an unprecedented situation that has to have some type of a solution or action that will set precedent. And so I think what is necessary is whatever legal action that you're prepared to offer or take on in order to help set precedent. And even if it sets a minimum mark, it still gives us a perimeter to function from. I think
true.
right now it's just kind of open playing field because no one has taken any initiative, and I mean, just nothing. So I think we need to have something that establishes a point, a starting point, a mark, or at least a milestone that we can start from.
I agree because I do remember when I worked at a housing authority. I mean, I'm so grateful for the opportunity because I really saw firsthand how the staff were so specialized that one staff didn't know the other. And they would come to me because I was big on the Section 3. They would come and say, what is the Section 3 thing? And I'm looking at them like, boo, you work in the housing authority. Like, how don't you know? Um, and so I was amazed that the staff that worked there did not know because they keep you very, very like you got intakes, you got lease ups, you know what I'm saying? You got resident services, and then you got so one person in the entity in the whole agency is doing Section 3. And it's not a concerted effort because at the end of the day, when that developer or that housing authority is trying to make that deal and get that private investment, the last thing they want to do is cater to the interests of residents because I found that it's not residents normal bailiwick. It's not the language we talk every day. We get a lot, most of us be in our feelings and our emotion, and we can't see, the trees from the forest most times, and we focus on something else. And that has happened over and over and over again, that the residents will be in the meeting and you trying to get them to the table to do part like equity stake in the deal that's going through the redevelopment deal, and they talking about something else. So yeah, education, a huge education piece has to happen, and we do have some things to help counteract that for those who choose to engage. So I saw Chase. He said, yeah, Chase said one person, but Chase was like maybe a Section 3 info hub for contractors to provide resources for divisions in the business. So I think this is the perfect time for you guys, you guys will be the first to hear about our platform. So we have, for you guys that know, we've done virtual conferences. We started out with Cranes in the Sky, and then we did our Roby Connect. So we run a resident-owned business incubator. It's called Roby. And the goal of Roby, which I'll show you in a minute, we created Roby because we really was tired of contractors saying they couldn't find anybody qualified. So we thought, okay, well, we'll qualify them ourselves. And so we created an incubator. And through our partnerships, really right here in DC, we have 4,500 of plush space next to the White House for low-income entrepreneurs. Now we've gotten calls to like, can we bring that to Texas? Can we bring that? Right now, the space in itself, yes, is a DC space, but I want you to know that the entrepreneurs that come through our program is 100% online right now. Of course, it's COVID, but they graduate with their business plan, their business license, their website, their logo. They have a business card. They have a chamber membership to the Chamber of Commerce, the National Black Chamber of Commerce that we work with. So we're giving them everything that they need to at least support. So of course they're learning the financials, they're learning the business operations, the how to grow their business, the marketing and sales, the human resource, the legal, and then they get an administrative back office support for 1 year to help them. And so what we decided to do is, while we have this 15-week program that we focus on 300 hours in 15 weeks, so it's like 20 hours a week that they do, we wanted to make sure when they graduated, they had somewhere to go. So we are taking the Section 3 information and we are infusing it in particularly these young entrepreneurs. So we, helping equip the young entrepreneurs. But I'm going to share, because you guys are the very first to be revealed, our Section 3 micro enterprise trade show, pitch, and expo. So we're calling it, Section 3 Me. That's the thing we want to push out. Just push out like Section 3 Me and kind of put that out there. We're open to making this event a, success. We are here. We do 4 events a year. It's actually a pitch. So we're having you guys be able to pitch your idea, win cash, exhibit in our exhibit hall. So today is just like a save the date. Next week, we're going to come out with the full, press release and the whole, we'll have a press conference before the end of the year that will invite everybody out. But on our Roby Connect platform, which we'll go to in a minute, you're going to be able to do maybe something what Chase was just saying. Let's see. So in the Roby Connect, if you go to robyconnect.com, you should see, it's a really heavy video. So ultimately, you'll see this gorgeous video that says, it's time to go grow 100% virtual. Economic inclusion starts here. So we're looking to make sure that what we found is the SBA, because a small business is 500 employees or less and making $5 million or less. I'm like, oh my God, we are so far from that. So we are like micro enterprises. A lot of us are like 1 to 3, the CEO and a couple of other people. We might have a small team, less than 10 people working for us. Our sales is definitely under, $1 million. And so we wanted to create this platform strategically, specifically for Section 3 businesses to be able to come and showcase their businesses. So we got exhibit booths, very affordable. And right now it's COVID. So how will we know about your business? There's so many businesses that I learned about just today that I think other people need to know about. And so just because HUD has the registry, all your name is doing is staying in some stupid Excel sheet. So this is extracting that Excel data and putting an environment together where we'll have roundtables for industry led. So we do have, let's see, go down to our agenda. This is not right. So our team is still working on this because the keynote speaker was definitely not that, and we changed it. And so we have confirmed our keynote speaker. So by next week, the website would be like completely up and finished. However, panel discussion, roundtable, industry chat conversations, if you wanted to actually, get a booth and a workshop, we have those options available. So I think, like I said, save the date for December 12th. It's a Saturday. It's from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you guys have ideas and want to get involved and see how we can really make this better, if you want to showcase your business here, I think that would be awesome. And then let's just chat. We have what is this? This is the winter expo. We'll have a spring, a summer, and a fall. And we'll do this every year until Section 3 becomes a thing. So again, I'm not waiting for HUD. I'm not waiting for a housing authority. We're not waiting for a developer or a contractor. We will support ourselves. We will do the things that we need to do ourselves to create the growth that our businesses need. And I believe that there are enough of us out there to make and actualize the power of Section 3. And I think maybe that was the problem. I think maybe it was us waiting for someone else to enforce it versus us enforcing it ourselves. Now, I know that sounds easy, but now when you know how to create, and this is like just one of those platforms that's really taken the Section 3 authority, the rule. And particularly, guess what? Those companies that are required to maintain numerical data, you still got to do training. So they can support the platform if they choose. They can still get check their box, and that monies we can help to grow some of these micro enterprises and strengthen the capacity of the organizations. We are hooked up with Bay Atlantic University. They are a business school. And one thing about Bay Atlantic, which is the sponsor of ours, they have interns to work in our small businesses. And so it really is just like, let's go already. Like if you have a need in your business, we could probably find a student within Bay Atlantic to help you. And so please, 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 once we go live and have our first show, I ask that you all, share it, place it, promote it, be a part of it, make it be what it needs to be, because it is ultimately for us. And so, any kind of details and information you need. What you say, Texas is where it is. I'm Section 3 certified and tapped in the director for GBHC. So you need platform developers. What's GBHC? Is that like some kind of code? So do you need platform developers? You mean like code workers? What you mean, Chase? I can let me allow you to talk. Chase?
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Chase, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
So what you saying with tell me what GBHC is?
The Greater Houston Black Chamber of Commerce?
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
So I went up there. I've talked to a couple of people. I even met the director and everything. What I was basically saying is, like, is there any way to where basically we can get the information out there, like start a Facebook group, I guess anything on social media, just to get the idea out there. And then as everything works, you already got the platform right there. You said you had it. So why can't we just do it like that?
We can do it like that. We could definitely, and what we'll do is we'll make sure that the Section 3 private group, we can put that in the podcast and people can start joining it. Maybe we can have our private conversations there.
Yes, ma'am.
That idea. Yeah, and I can, if you want to be an administrator of it, please just text me your because y'all not gonna put no work on me. I know Monette about to laugh because she's gonna be the one with the work, probably some of it. But we all put in on this, like Smokey from Friday.
Okay.
Put in. Let's go. We can do that.
What else?
So you're in Texas. So you're in Houston, Texas. So Texas is going through a lot of redevelopment.
Yes, ma'am.
I know
so much it's so much redevelopment going on in Houston to where they just trying to expand to like the outskirt counties or the outskirt cities and annex everything. So Texas is growing. I mean, Houston is growing. Let me say that. So
Yeah. Are you affiliated with any of the housing authorities? Like, have you gotten any work as a certified Section 3 contractor?
No, ma'am, I have not. I've been receiving
Mhm.
solicitations and all that, but it's just like I'm one person, so you
Yeah.
can't do it alone, you know.
What kind of business do you have?
I run a construction business. At one point, I thought I was running the whole stock exchange firm, but they shut me down. So
Mm.
it is what it is.
Yeah. So I mean, I can definitely. I think Billy does construction too, and he has a great deal of knowledge and information. I'm trying to get Billy to run like a whole construction industry roundtable for construction workers or smaller GCs that are trying to get their first contract. He's out of
Okay,
Missouri.
like the thing is, I've worked for the city of Houston, so I'm not there no more. But like I said, I'm pretty much tapped in with all of the systems and everything. You know,
Okay.
you got to be a vendor, so it's like once
Mm.
you get your certifications and all that stuff, get your business established, LLC, then you get your insurance bonded, then you can pretty much go to work. But like you said, where's the work at? You know, and
Okay.
once they're providing it, it's like, oh, you really provide me with real work to where it's gonna last me for at least a good, I want to say anywhere from 3 to 6 months, maybe even a year. You never really know.
Right. Let me ask you this question, and this could be for anybody. You could put it in the chat. How more useful do you think it would be if we focus an event on a jurisdiction, like a geographical jurisdiction? So maybe the Spring Expo, while we're virtual, we are taking Texas, and Texas is so damn big by itself. It would need its own, what. But I would really like to bring in individuals that, like you said, you already hooked in to those connections and those channels. I know we're based on our contract, we only do 4 events a year, but is it like a Midwest, Southeast Coast? Should we take it instead of just having this big general, spring, summer, fall? Should we have it more directed around regions?
The region, I believe the region thing will be a good idea. Because you can't really just satisfy everybody, so
Mm-hmm.
that'll work.
I just would need to. What do you think, Billy? Should it be on regions, or maybe? I mean, for this first one, it's just going to be like everybody, whoever comes, whoever wants to come
So
and be a part
I
of it.
think in order for us to look at a information thing, we have to identify the requirements, and if you got people out of Texas or Florida or whatever, I think you got to look at what that requirement process is, or if they're looking at certifications or whatever. Then we have to identify what that is so that we can address that as we put that information together. Because I mean, if it don't, we're not addressing a need or an issue or a concern, then it's just it's no benefit to the individual that's participating.
That's true.
That's true. So I'm thinking, because as Chase was talking, I was saying, I think if we did, I don't know what Texas is that. What region is Texas and Missouri? Like, what do y'all know? Where my HUD sheet at?
Missouri is Region 7. Yeah, Missouri is Region 7.
Region 7. You mean according to HUD?
Yeah, head Region 7. It's the federal Region 7.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah, I got my little regional map in place. I told you I was ready. Okay. So Missouri is definitely 7. And how many regions are there? 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 10. Huh. So that
What
might
region
be
is
a thing.
Texas?
That might be a thing. Texas is Region 6. Hmm. So Texas would be Oklahoma, Arizona, Louisiana. NM, is that new? Don't say New Mexico. I know that ain't no New Mexico.
It might be.
It would be New Mexico.
NM?
New
Yeah,
Mexico.
New Mexico.
Where is New Mexico? I failed geography a few times just to.
It's going west, Arizona, and all that good stuff, where they really kind of
Oh yeah.
developing things.
Yeah. Oh, I like that idea. And so what we could also do, if we break it up by region, right? We could also make sure that maybe in those panel discussions, maybe Texas had a panel. And when we, like Billy said, you start talking about specifics, about what is the problem and how we plan to fix it. What are the goals that we want to fix around Section 3 in this region? I think that's sexy. Most people here. If I say it's sexy, that means like super duper hot. But I like that idea. So where are we at right now? March. Where are we at? December. Ugh. I mean, we in DC. We would have to do region 1, 2, and 3. Maybe with this one. Maybe this is the winter 1, 2, and 3, and then we can be preparing for regions 4, 5, and 6, which that's huge because you got all of Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Florida. That's just too much.
I have a question.
Yeah.
In regards to Section 3 concerns, do you think the concerns different from the regions?
No.
Are they all having basically the same issue?
They would be mostly the same issues, but there'd just be different stakeholders addressing those issues. It would be the same issues. Where the damn contracts? That's all we want to know. Where the money? Where the contracts? Don't play. Stop playing. Where the contracts? So we need to be inviting, like the Black Chambers. Do they even know about Section 3?
That's the thing. I don't know too many people that know about Section 3. I just happened to stumble on it one day. So in the midst of me going out to these networking events before COVID, that's how I stumbled on Section 3. And a Hispanic person put me on it. So I was like, well, thank you very much, my guy.
The Hispanic population. Whoa. Now, hold on. Maybe, I wonder if, now here's another thing. Because you see the Spanish people. The Spanish people is working.
A lot of Spanish people working in construction everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. But I think I wonder if they're legal. Because if they're legal, then they would probably be satisfying Section 3. Because Section 3 is not race related, gender related, or anything. But what if they weren't legal? That's probably why they can't get the credit. But then where we at? Like, what's up? I mean,
right about that. Where we at? It's like they might be illegal, but they getting the process done, and I'm just the person that's a part of the process.
So maybe that's, I don't know. I mean, I'm down for it to have a conversation. I like having hard conversations, but on one hand, can we really honestly say that they don't want to, white constructions or general GCs and stuff, they don't want to hire poor people? Because that would then be a big lie because they're hiring Hispanics.
So I think it's more of a who's gonna basically like the cheapest labor.
Mm-hmm.
You can't outbid those guys. They have the experience and they're willing to work for cheap. So they're building a dynamic relationship with whoever they're subbing under.
Well, that would be a violation too. If they're just going to go for the cheap because they're supposed to be paying the people the same.
Might be a violation.
That's true, because by Davis-Bacon, you got to get paid a certain wage anyway. The Davis-Bacon law says, I believe it says that, if you're doing federal projects, there are payment standards that have to be met. I don't know if that's the right word, but you're right, Rachel.
Yeah, that's called prevailing wages, and they're bidding lower. The reality is this: the opportunities afforded to Hispanic workforces versus the opportunity afforded to Black workforce is the extreme difference between day and night. And so when you have more opportunity to practice your craft, you perfect it. And so you have a lot of Black companies, Black workforce that are not having the opportunity to learn or to perfect the craft or improve the craft. And so you get people seeking to employ them. So that's kind of a standard around the industry. Hispanic workers are not having issues getting work. They're not so much as, they are actually emerging into the unions at this point. It's kind of been a thing going, but it's just, that's a norm, but I don't think that the focus is that the Hispanic and brown community has an issue in construction. More so the Black folk who are not trained, who are not having the opportunity.
But then if we
Yes.
just said it was the cheapest bidder, so maybe are we not competitive?
That
In
might be
in
one
in,
thing.
in government work, the competition, prevailing wage is a standard.
Yeah.
A carpenter makes $52 or $54 an hour regardless. So there's no we're being cheaper or anything like that. Now, overhead and profit might be something where there's a few points of variation, but the wage is a standard, so that's not the issue.
And I wonder if, and I don't know if we got to forward some of these applications, but I could promise you what I do know, and I could be wrong, Billy, you can let me know. Maybe the Hispanics that are working on the contracts, they're not really the ones getting the contract. They're the subs and the laborers of the contract. And so that sub or that prime or that whatever contractor has that construction, or sub or whatever, maybe they do get points by saying, yeah, we'll our workforce is 25, 50, 75% low income.
No, they're merging. They are moving into the role of general contractors, premier. They are first tier and second tier subcontractors. That
Okay.
old standard is gone. So no, they are sub. They're building their.
Really?
Yes, I mean
Wow.
Vasquez Construction is a
That's their
is a
thing.
premier.
Damn.
Vasquez Construction is a premier government contractor right now. I mean, they're one of the most grossing
What's their name?
minority. Vasquez.
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 Hmm.
Go ahead, Vasquez.
Same for related.
What'd you say?
Same for related. They're getting a lot of the contracts related.
Oh. Damn. Like I know we got some new development next door and it was nothing but Latinos on it. And I wasn't even mad. I was like, do it, get it. Because, black and brown is to me is no different. But I'm like, where are we? Where are
You're right
we?
about that.
Like, where are we? So maybe it's not, yeah, where are we? So I mean, we're out of time. I'm going to be sending a save the date out probably in the next couple of days. You guys heard it first here. The section 3, we like me. I want that money. I like fickle, make yon fickle. What was that? What was that Joanna man when he said that stupid thing? Like I like to eat good. I like nice things. So it's like, can I live? Can I get that? And see what we have to do. Because I know there are people who are eating. That's for sure. Billy was one who was able, he has been able to access millions. So maybe it's a technique that we're missing. Maybe it's a skill that we're missing to write in these contracts. Maybe it's capital that we're missing to become, insured and bonded with the right things. But I also know that there are people who have done all that they can do and they still don't get the contract, or getting a contract is like pulling meat out of a bear's mouth. So, we're still on the hunt for the missing contract because as far as I'm concerned, I have not found anybody to call me and say, hey, I got a Section 3 contract. If anything, it's like, yo, I got screwed, I got scammed. And so we're still on the hunt for the Section 3 contract, y'all. If y'all know somebody that has gotten a contract, let us know. If you know somebody that's been injured by a contract or a Section 3 deal, let us know. Inbox us, send us a chat, Facebook. Chase, send me your email. Put your email in the chat to me, please.
Okay.
We'll have our little closed Facebook group started ASAP. And we're kind of moving forward. I really like the idea of the regions and maybe, possibly working out some type of, I don't want to say profit sharing, but I believe in sharing the love. And so maybe if we did a regional thing and there was a committee, maybe that committee, whoever works on that event, getting it out there, that agenda, the speakers, all of that, maybe there's a percentage of, what do you call it? Sponsorships, exhibit booths, anything that the conference generates in revenue, we'll do a revenue split with that team that is willing to help plan the conference for their area. And so I'm putting that out there now. because we do have 3 events lined up all the way up to September 25th of next year. So we have one coming up in March, one in June, and one in September. We just do need to solidify that, you know, if it's the spring, summer, fall, what regions are we covering? And so we can probably get a couple of people, but I know everybody is busy. And so don't be texting me talking about, I'll do it. And then I text you and email you and you can't do it. Like, you know what you can do and what you cannot do. And this is important. This is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. This is about accountability. It's about bringing justice, equality, economic inclusion, racial justice, economic justice. It's about, you know, holding HUD and all the municipalities in the United States accountable to their own damn law. So with that being said, if anybody don't have no questions, no shout outs, we will resume next week. Be sure to like our page, Can I Live Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's all there. We're a new podcast show, and we're, you know, looking to just increase equity, justice, righteousness, peace, love, and joy.
Adios. Hey, did you get the email?
I surely did. You sent it to the whole group, but I got it.
Okay. Hey.
And I will take it. I'll send you an email like right now and just tell you I got it, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
Thank you guys for all participating. You guys been wonderful. You guys have a good night. Any questions? Everybody good?
That's it from me.
Peace and love. You guys have a good night.
You too.